1993, one film didn't just entertain audiences, it rewrote the rules of filmmaking. When Jurassic Park hit theaters, dinosaurs didn't feel like movie monsters anymore. They felt alive, they breathed, they blinked, they roared. And for the first time in cinematic history, audiences truly believed extinct creatures had returned to Earth. But here's what makes it even more incredible. This wasn't just CGI magic, this was a revolutionary blend of full-scale animatronics, miniatures, early digital effects, hydraulic monsters, rain machines, and practical puppetry, all brought together under the direction of Steven Spielberg. So let's go behind the scenes of Jurassic Park and discover how filmmakers in 1993 achieved something that still looks real today. One of the most emotional early moments in the film happens quietly. In the middle of a peaceful jungle clearing, when Alan Grant and the team encounter a sick triceratops, many people assumed this was CGI. It wasn't. This was a full-size, lifelike animatronic built by Stan Winston's studio, and it was enormous. The dinosaur's skin texture, folds, weight, and muscle structure were sculpted with obsessive detail. Beneath that latex skin was a hydraulic and cable-driven mechanical skeleton. Nearly 8 puppeteers operated the creature from a concealed pit below the set. They controlled the eyes and eyelids, subtle neck movements, mouth tension, and, most importantly, breathing. The breathing was crucial. The chest expanded and collapsed in slow, labored motions to make the Triceratops feel sick and exhausted. Some body tremors were manually coordinated to add vulnerability. Spielberg made a bold decision to shoot this scene early in production, putting major pressure on the effects team. Complex animatronics are usually saved for later, once they've been tested repeatedly, but he wanted this emotional moment ready from the beginning. Filmed in Hawaii's lush outdoor landscape, the real grass, mud, and natural lighting made everything feel grounded. Actors weren't pretending to look at a tennis ball on a stick. They were touching a physical dinosaur, and that physical presence changed their performances completely, and as a result, we see a living animal on screen. When Jurassic Park was released in 1993, audiences were convinced they were witnessing digital wizardry far ahead of its time. But one of the film's most iconic moments is the baby velociraptor hatching in the lab, which wasn't pure CGI at all, it was mechanical. Inside that incubator sat a fully functional animatronic puppet, built by the legendary Stan Winston studio. The baby raptor may look small and delicate on screen, but inside it was packed with tiny motors, cables, and precision servos. Hidden puppeteers controlled everything remotely. Subtle head tilts, neck twitches, blinking eyelids, jaw movements, even tiny breathing motions. The egg itself wasn't random either. It was crafted from a specially designed breakaway material, strong enough to hold shape under lights, but fragile enough to crack naturally on cue. Before the wonder, before the park tour, before we even see a dinosaur clearly, Jurassic Park opens with pure terror. In the film's chilling first sequence, a velociraptor is being transferred into its enclosure. As the metal crate aligns with the gate, tension fills the air. Workers shout instructions, chains rattle, the jungle is silent, and suddenly, the raptor explodes forward with lightning speed, attacking security guard Joffrey and dragging him violently into the darkness. Other guards desperately grab his arms, trying to pull him back, but the creature's unseen force overpowers them. We never fully see the dinosaur, and that was intentional. Steven Spielberg made a deliberate choice. Don't reveal the monster, let imagination do the work. Behind the scenes, there was no fully visible raptor in that moment. The actors were reacting to practical effects, cage mechanics, off-camera crew pulling with cables, and carefully choreographed movement. The violence feels real because the struggle was real. Metal bars were shaken aggressively. Dust and debris were kicked up. Actors physically strained and pulled against resistance to simulate the dinosaur's strength. The guard being dragged performed with harness rigs to create that brutal backward force. The camera stays tight, shaky, urgent. We hear snarls, we see flashes of claws, but the creature remains mostly hidden. That mystery is what makes the attack so terrifying. In less than a minute, Spielberg establishes the entire tone of the film. These are not theme park attractions, they are predators, and you are not in control. Midway through Jurassic Park, wonder turns into pure survival horror. The park's power suddenly fails, the electric fences shut down, rain pours relentlessly over 2 stalled tour vehicles where Alan Grant, Lex, and Tim sit trapped in the dark, and then Through the storm, the ground begins to tremble. A couple water ripples. The Tyrannosaurus Rex has escaped. What makes this sequence legendary isn't just the tension, it's how it was made. Contrary to what many assume, this wasn't filmed in a real jungle. The entire attack was shot on a massive indoor soundstage at Universal Studios, where the production team could control every element: ray machines, lighting rigs, animatronics, camera cranes, and stunt coordination. Director Steven Spielberg deliberately set the sequence at night during a thunderstorm. Darkness and rain naturally amplified the suspense, but they also served a technical purpose. Shadows and water helped conceal mechanical limitations while blending practical and digital effects seamlessly. At the center of it all was the full-scale T-Rex animatronic built by Stan Winston Studio, a 40-foot-long mechanical monster weighing nearly 7 to 8 tons. Powered by complex hydraulics, the creature could move its head, open its jaws, flare its nostrils, and even simulate breathing. Multiple technicians operated it simultaneously like a giant, coordinated machine. For close-up shots, when the T-Rex presses its eye near the Jeep window, bites down on metal, or roars inches away from the terrified children, that's the real animatronic. Actors weren't reacting to empty space, they were staring at a life-size robotic predator, towering above them. But the heavy artificial rain quickly became production's biggest nightmare. The dinosaur's foam latex skin absorbed water, increasing its weight and straining the hydraulic systems. Between takes, crew members rushed in with towels and blow dries to dry the T-Rex, so it wouldn't malfunction. At times, the animatronic would shake unexpectedly due to water pressure in the system, and those unplanned jolts actually made the actors' fear more genuine. For wide shots, like when the T-Rex steps out of the paddock or walks in full-body view, groundbreaking CGI created by Industrial Light and Magic was used. This was one of the first times in film history where practical animatronics and digital creatures blended so flawlessly that audiences couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. The rain and low lighting weren't just atmospheric, they were compositing tools, helping digital skin reflect light realistically and merge naturally into live-action footage. What many don't know is that Jurassic Park didn't rely on one technology. It evolved during production. Originally, long dinosaur shots were planned using advanced stop-motion animation. Legendary effects artist Phil Tippett, famous for his work on Star Wars, developed a refined technique called go motion, which added natural motion blur to stop-motion creatures. Tippett's team even created a groundbreaking tool called the Dinosaur Input Device, a robotic miniature dinosaur model that artists could physically move by hand. That movement data was then translated into digital form, meaning the CGI T-Rex motion was guided by traditional stop-motion craftsmanship. In a way, old-school artistry literally taught the computer how to move like a living creature. Miniature sets were also used for certain destruction shots. Scaled-down jungle environments and vehicle models allowed control physical damage that felt tangible, something early 1990 CGI alone couldn't fully achieve. These miniatures added weight, debris interaction, and real-world lighting behavior that grounded the spectacle. Jurassic Park became historic not because it abandoned practical effects for CGI, but because it fused animatronics, miniatures, stop-motion knowledge, and digital innovation into one seamless cinematic experience. And that's why, even today, the first T-Rex attack doesn't feel like an effect. It feels real. One of the most breathtaking moments in Jurassic Park arrives quietly and then explodes into motion. Dr. Alan Grant, Lex, and Tim are walking through a vast open field when suddenly the ground begins to tremble. In seconds, an entire herd of gallimimus bursts across the landscape, sprinting at full speed like a prehistoric stampede. Then, bird-like and lightning fast, they move together in synchronized chaos, weaving, dodging, flowing as a single organism. In the distance, as the Tyrannosaurus Rex enters the chase, turning the spectacle into a life-or-death moment. This sequence changed the history of visual effects. It was the first time audiences saw a large herd of dinosaurs rendered entirely in CGI, and it looked real. The groundbreaking work was handled by Industrial Light and Magic, which built each gallimimus from the inside out. Artists began with digital skeleton rigs, layered on muscle systems, and then added textured skin that reacted to light naturally. To capture a believable moment, animators studied footage of ostriches and gazelles, analyzing their stride length, leg compression, head bobbing rhythm, and herd behavior. The goal wasn't just speed, it was weight and coordination. What made the scene revolutionary was the crowd simulation. Instead of duplicating one dinosaur model repeatedly, each gallimimus was programmed with slightly different timing, spacing, and movement paths. This prevented the herd from looking artificial or copy-pasted. The result felt organic, like wildlife documentary footage from another era. The live-action portion was filmed at Kualoa Ranch in Hawaii, where actors ran through an empty field with no dinosaur present. Later, ILM used motion tracking, rotoscoping, and frame-by-frame compositing to insert the digital herd around them. Lighting direction, dust interaction, and shadow placement were meticulously matched, so the CGI creatures blended seamlessly into the real environment. The first reveal of the brachiosaurus remains one of the most magical introductions of the movie. As Alan Grant steps out of the Jeep and slowly looks upward, the camera follows his gaze, rising to reveal a towering, gentle giant calmly feeding from the treetops. In that moment, the tone of Jurassic Park shifts from curiosity to awe. The dinosaur isn't presented as a monster, but as a majestic living creature. To bring this massive herbivore to life, Spielberg's team used a hybrid approach. From wide shots, the brachiosaurus was fully CGI, created by Industrial Light and Magic. Artists constructed a detailed 3D skeleton first, then layered muscle simulation and textured skin to give the body believable weight. Animators studied elephants and giraffes for reference, carefully mimicking their slow gait, neck sway, and subtle chewing motions to make the dinosaur feel graceful rather than aggressive. Spielberg intentionally paired the reveal with soft music and slow pacing. The goal wasn't a shock, it had an emotional impact. The scene established that dinosaurs in this world were not just predators, they were part of an ecosystem. That sense of wonder made the later danger even more powerful. More than 3 decades later, Jurassic Park still doesn't feel like an old movie. It feels alive. What makes that possible isn't just nostalgia, it's craftsmanship. The seamless fusion of full-scale animatronics built by Stan Winston's studio, breathtaking CGI from Industrial Light and Magic, and the visionary direction of Steven Spielberg created something timeless. If you enjoyed going behind the scenes of Jurassic Park, make sure to hit that like button so more movie fans can discover the real stories behind their favorite films. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dive behind the scene breakdowns, where we uncover how Hollywood's biggest moments were actually made.